She visited at dawn, her power saw in hand as though it were a ceremonial instrument. The early light cut through the mist like oncoming judgment. Mrs. Elaine Harding, HOA Karen, as the neighborhood had begun murmuring, slipped from her car with purpose. Her lanky frame carried an aura of righteous indignation. She haunted the cul-de-sac like a specter, preordained to regulate every blade of grass, every wooden plank in every neighbor's yard. Today's victim, the treehouse that sat nestled in the huge oak in the Miller children's front yard, a smiling spit of childhood tethered to sturdy branches in hope. She didn't knock. That would be ordinary, polite, pedestrian. Instead she wielded her saw the way a judge wields gavel, with finality. The blade hummed with menace as she descended upon wooden beams and spry optimism alike. 10 feet above the ground, ladders perched beside the laughing den of wood and paint, with its colorful pennant fluttering in the breeze. Inside the treehouse, the laughter of children, Emma and Jacob Miller, popped like popcorn. They were maybe 8 and 5, bursting with plans of pirate treasure and intergalactic missions. Their father had hammered the last plank in just days before, a labor of love, a dream given form against that gnarled oak trunk. That dream splintered now, in sudden violent vibrations as the saw bit into thick wood. Emma surfaced from her hiding behind a stack of cushions. What? Her voice stopped as the floorplate jolted. Jacob, still mid-giggle, tumbled forward. The world turned at a tilt of wood and dust. Then came the crash. A beam broke. Emma's small foot twisted against the jagged edge. Jacob's cheeks scraped raw against a broken plank. The world, of splinters, of terrors unfolding, remembered agony for them, and theirs alone. Downstairs, the quiet beyond the hedge shattered. A neighbor screamed. Another called 911, voice trembling between outrage and fear. Mrs. Harding, bizarrely calm now, lowered the saw, its motor spinning down to nothing. She surveyed the ruin and the children's cries, expression unreadable. In the moment her eyes might have flickered with something like remorse, but that vanished as swiftly as it appeared. Paramedics arrived in minutes, though to the Millers, every second stretched like an eternity. Emma's foot was injured, Jacob had bruises and a slight concussion. Their father held them, voices trembling, while medical professionals worked to calm them. Panic rippled through neighbors, mustering at windows and porches. The saw lay discarded at the foot of the tree, dusty and heavy with consequence. Word exploded. HOA president charges at child's treehouse. The tone of gossip turned urgent. A felony assault. The deputies arrived, composed but alarmed. They spoke with the Millers, then with Mrs. Harding, who claimed she was enforcing safety ordinances, though no notice had ever arrived. Legal proceedings opened. A cold, sterile courtroom replaced the natural warmth of neighborly front yards. Felony assault, murmured in the hallways like a curse. The image of a sawed-down treehouse and a wailing child became a symbol of power unchecked, the house rules weaponized. Neighbors turned divided. Some whispered, "About time, she keeps dragging everyone to hearings for the tiniest infractions." Others gasped, "She just destroyed a child's sanctuary." The local paper ran photos of the shattered treehouse, beams strewn like fallen hopes. Social media sputtered with outrage and disgust. But the story wasn't only about what she did. It was about why. Mrs. Harding had been hurt herself, years ago, when her brother fell in a homemade play structure. She vowed to never let unsafe nonsense threaten her peace again. Her fort clattering to dust had remolded her into an enforcer. But as the saw bit into solid oak and childhood innocence, she failed to see that she was shaping her own prison of rigid rules and prodigious fear. Meanwhile the Millers grappled with the wounds, some physical, most emotional. Emma refused to climb a ladder for weeks. Jacob shied away from wooden forts. Their parents, once trusting of community, now wondered if stability had been expensive all along, and if control had been bought at the price of childhood wonder. The trial became an altar, with speeches about safety, responsibility, enforcement. Prosecutors leaned on expert testimony. No, the treehouse wasn't an immediate hazard, they acknowledged the Millers had built it soundly. Defense argued she'd simply taken initiative when board urged the community to follow the rules. The judge presided calmly even as the gallery sat in sobbing silence. In the end came sentencing, weeks in jail, a fine, restitution, community service. But nothing could restore the splintered wood or ease the children's nightmares. Mrs. Harding emerged into the gray daylight, diminished, clutching the weight of consequences she had thought would never touch her own life. The neighborhood, bloodied in trust, regarded her with wary eyes. Slowly, Though, green buds appeared on the mighty oak. The millers rebuilt, on paper, allowing time to dry wounds. It was another treehouse, yes, but built in dialogue with the HOA, with neighbors, with the spirit of compromise rather than conquest. And Mrs. Harding, changed, markedly quieter now, attended the children's ribbon-cutting ceremony one spring morning, her cheeks pink, hands trembling. She stood back, silent, as Emma climbed up to place the first pennant back in place.